Gotcha! 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 Hey noble ones, welcome back to my channel. This is the Metatron speaking. Let me tell you about Genshin Impact, because this is a game that I've only recently started playing. Apart from the fact that it's absolutely gorgeous, I've been playing it on PS5, so I've been playing it at 4K native resolution, but even on a 1080p monitor on a PS4, I think the game still looks absolutely damn good. But today I'd like to talk about the Knights of Favonius. First of all, because I love the name. It's the name of a Roman god. It's a Latin word. In fact, the actual classical Latin pronunciation would be Favonius. We'll get back to that, but it's an order of knights that is present in the game. And the first time that I saw them, I was a little iffy about it. I'm like, okay, they're called knights, but then this girl looks anything but. So I'll be 100% honest. At first I thought it was a little bit of a silly thing. But then I looked into the lore, and let me tell you, I'm impressed. There are a few things I'd like to change about their, let's call it, uniform, their overall armor. Not because the game has any need to be realistic or historically accurate, it's a completely fantasy world, but because I think there are a couple of changes that, if they were made to the armor, it would really benefit the immersion in the world, because it would be a bit more believable. For those who are here for the first time, I usually talk about historical armor, so I do know a thing or two about medieval armor. But without further ado, let's jump right into it. So, this is the Order of the Knights, and the Knights of Favonius are an order of knights that protects the city called Mondstadt. This is the, I want to say, main city where the main character will spend a lot of time, a lot of interaction in here. So the first thing that we learn is that this is an order responsible for protecting this city and its belief of freedom. An interesting fun fact is that despite the fact that they are called knights, none of them have been knighted by royalty. So knighthood in this alternative reality is more of a title you earn. One thing that I love about the Knights of Favonius is that a lot of thought has gone into the making and all the details about this order. One of the duties of Knights of Favonius in-game is to act as, we could say, from a modern perspective, police. They are local city guards. In fact, most of the time we can see them out on patrol, walking around the streets. This would really explain the sort of equipment that they are wearing. Let's look at them. So the first problem I have with the set is that they're wearing no helmet. I would have appreciated a nice helmet because, I mean, that's the most important protection. To the developers, please give them a helmet. But the fact that they're only wearing a breastplate and a backplate, so there is no protection for the lower half of the torso, that doesn't bother me. Because now that I know that they're basically city guards, or at least that's one of their main functions, then it actually makes sense. Let me put on some armor and show you what I'm talking about. As you can see right now, I'm wearing a late 15th century historically accurate equivalent of a breastplate and backplate combination. Just like the one we see in-game, it goes all around. And one thing that I really appreciate is the fact that the armor seems to be tailor-made for each one of the knights. That's again another thing that has a historical comparison, if you will. Not all plate armor in the medieval period was custom-made, and it very much depended on how much money you had. Poorest soldiers would have bought off-the-shelf armor, but knights and professional men-at-arms would have definitely had tailor-made armor because it really makes a difference. And that's what we see here. It's all tailor-made, and I appreciate that. Also, we see that they have different sets, and since some sets seem to be more decorated than others with gold or brass edging, which again is also historical, I would imagine the sort of gear that you have will depend on how successful you are. Perhaps you're more of a veteran, how long you've been in the order. They're not all just copy-pasted, but there is a little variation, some even having more protection on the legs than others. But one thing that kind of breaks my immersion as someone who handles armor and wears armor almost on a daily basis, and this is a problem that we see in many other medieval-inspired games, is the way armor pieces are attached. I don't have a problem with the breastplate. I'm assuming it's connected by some sort of straps, even though we can't see them clearly. But when you look at the way the lower cannons, which are basically the forearm plate protection, and the spolders, so we could say the shoulder protections, are attached, they are just attached by leather straps, and that makes it not very believable. Real medieval armor was pointed. Just draw a couple of extra strings that show how the shoulders are actually connected to the arming doublet, so the sort of garment that even in this game you can see they're wearing, that is the basis, the fundamental basis for plate armor attachment. Again, I know it's fantasy, I know it's nitpicking, the game is absolutely fine without these things, but I do think it would look more immersive and believable if they added something like that. Also remember, these are not knights in the sense that they are heavy shock cavalry. I don't see horses. We're not on a battlefield, so basically the sort of gear they have is not gear that you would use for war, which is why I have no problems with the fact that the lower part of the torso is exposed and they don't have a lot of throat protection. But even modern day police, when they wear a plate carrier of some sorts, most of the times it works like a breastplate and backplate configuration without any protection for the lower torso. So basically the first part that you want to protect after your head of your body is the center of mass, meaning the upper torso where all your vital organs are. You can survive a blow to the guts, but it's very difficult to survive if someone pierces your heart. It's interesting how this order is in a way resemblant to not only real medieval orders, we're going to talk about that, but actually holy orders. I've got a lot to say about both the actual in-game lore and some comparison that we can have an equivalence with real medieval knighthood. When I said that they are not functioning as heavy shock cavalry in the medieval battlefield sense, I meant the knights that we interact with. But one of the companies is actually called the cavalry. All of the members of this company are currently on Varka's expedition, Varka being the actual headmaster that we don't really see. Whether they are mounted or not, I don't know. Then we have the investigation company, which provides the knights with invention to help their endeavors, and also of course they investigate interesting phenomena. You've got the intelligence company, the force company, which is generally speaking taking care of reconnaissance. You will run into them in, generally speaking, the wilderness of Mondstadt. Then you have the sixth company, logistic. I'm telling you, this game is great. They take care of the baggage train, resource management, record keeping. The eighth company is the one that deals with magic. But I think the only known member that we actually meet is Nymph, the field officer. As far as I know, I haven't played a lot. So we can say that the 8th company, they are the elemental combatants of the knights. Then you have the Outriders, and Amber is the one and only member of this subdivision, which explains why, even though she considers herself to be a Knight of Favonius, she's not wearing armor, which was the thing I was complaining at the beginning. The Outriders are basically scouts and specialized archers. There is an explanation as to why she's not wearing full armor. Now, since I did mention Favonius being the name of a Roman god, it meant favorable, and he was the Roman god of wind, which is interesting because, again, Mondstadt is the city of wind, so they actually didn't only use a Latin name, they actually got inspiration from ancient Roman mythology, and Greek mythology, of course. And Favonius was also used as a given name in ancient Rome. We know at least one politician and one centurion who had this name. And if you read the original manga, the Knight of Favonius was actually translated into English as Ordo Favonius, so full Latin on that one. And because of the fact that they are led by a grandmaster, that makes them very similar to the holy medieval Catholic orders such as the Teutonic Order or the Templars. Another thing that is similar to real knighthood and real knights is that we are told in the folklore, in the lore of the game, that Knights of Favonius started their training at a very early age. This guy began at age 8 and already knew how to use a sword at age 10, became a squire at age 16, but correct me if I'm wrong. The witch that you see me use at times, well, she's the librarian of the Order of the Knights of Favonius, and considering the size, considerable size of the library that we see inside the headquarters of the Knights, then I would say she's got a pretty important job to do. I mean, Knights of Favonius do like their reading and their books. Another interesting piece of trivia is that this is how you write the name of the Knight's Order in Mandarin Chinese, and it's pronounced Xi Feng Qi Shi Huan, which literally means Xi is west, Feng is wind, Qi Shi is night, and Tuan is usually translated as group, but when it comes to military things it can be translated as corps, so the corps of the Knights of the West Wind. The founder of the order is this character here called Vanessa, and then there is this girl. I have it in my party. Yeah, she's fun to play with. Her name is Noelle, little tanky, but it's kind of funny because she's both an apprentice knight and she's also a maid. And how that happened, I don't know.